and I will recording. So perfect. So far we have just 3 participants, and attendees is okay, perfect. So we have one person who's attending, Clemens, or I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Hi. So I think what we can do is perhaps wait another minute for if someone else might be coming up for them to get the time to attend this. Otherwise, we will just begin with our webinar, and we'll go with our presentation in 1 minute of time. So I think we can begin. Hi, everyone. I'm your host, John Sim from International Office at Jönköping University. Before we begin, some practical information. This session will be recorded, and later we will put a copy of this feed onto our JU web in next few days. Kindly ask your questions at the Q&A function on Zoom. We will answer all of the questions at the end of this webinar. Today, we will discuss and gain inside information on our 3 distinct programs, which were recently ranked in top 100 Masters in Management by Financial Times in 2021. Not just this, our business school has been ranked 2nd globally and 1st in Europe in entrepreneurship research. The research areas of business studies and economics are ranked 1st in Europe. So there is so much value that you can gain by becoming a student at the Business School of Jönköping University. So today we are discussing strategic entrepreneurship, and that is for if you're interested in to run your own business or identify and develop opportunities within existing businesses. This education will make you a strategic entrepreneur and provide you with the tools and needs to navigate nationally and globally. We will also discuss global management, and if you're interested in becoming a future leader of tomorrow's companies and organizations, this program can provide you with the knowledge and skills required for you to become an effective leader in various business contexts and multicultural environments. We will then also be discussing international logistics and supply chain management. And here, the same thing goes. If you're interested in becoming a future leader in global supply chain and logistics, this program is definitely for you. It provides you with both practical and theoretical knowledge to be able to work nationally and globally. And we will dive much deeper into these areas when we are going to talk with our guest. So let's not wait any further and welcome our guest, Assistant Professor, Dr. Ryan Rumble. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Welcome. And thank you for coming in today, Ryan, and taking time out and appear for this interview, as this will be, I think, extremely helpful for our potential students. If we begin with you, and so could you tell us about yourself, who you are, and what inspired you to choose this teaching, profession, and why are you with JIBS, basically?
Okay, so a little bit about myself. So I'm originally from Oxford in the UK. So I grew up surrounded by academia. So I knew from a very young age that this was my world. Mm-hmm. I moved. I did my bachelor's in Oxford. I did my master's in the University of Gothenburg in Sweden. And then I went and did my PhD in France. So my until this point, I'd been specializing in entrepreneurship studies. I moved to France and I sort of started looking at business modeling and mental models. And what I realized in my time in France was actually how much I missed Sweden. So I was thinking back to my master's and realizing that there were so many advantages to working and studying in Sweden. So I knew that once I'd completed my doctorate, I was going to move back here. And that's exactly what I did. So, which led me to Jönköping University and the International Business School in particular, where I could continue to both research and have the opportunity to teach entrepreneurship, management, and logistics. So.
Wonderful. What an exciting journey you had, and quite international. From UK over to Sweden, and from Sweden to France and back to Sweden. So you must love the Swedish culture and the environment, perhaps, that brought you back here.
Absolutely. It's a mindset and it's a culture. It's a very supportive culture that really sort of places a lot of emphasis on I guess personal development, really. It's not a hierarchical culture, it's a culture that encourages you. And that's what I really liked about Swedish academia. So.
Wonderful. And could you please tell a bit about JIBS and what makes it unique, and tell us about the programs you're responsible for?
Absolutely. So JIBS, so that's the Jönköping International Business School. It's unique in a number of ways. Now, first, as was mentioned at the beginning as well, I mean, we're well known for being, very high quality education, not just globally, but within Sweden itself. We're doubly accredited. We have both EQUIS and AACSB accreditation. This year, we got into the Financial Times top Masters in Management programs. So we're really happy about that, really proud of that. Of all the universities I worked at as well, there is an active quality improvement system in place here at the school. So we have people whose job it is essentially to keep, not only to maintain, but to keep improving the quality of our education here at the school. On the other hand, one of the things that makes JIBS unique as well is the things it chooses to focus on. So the international focus. So JIBS is one of the very few universities in Sweden that actually offers the majority of its programs in English, including bachelor's programs. And this is represented as well. I think we have the most international student body and both the most international staff of any university in Sweden as well. So it's an extremely international environment. As a link to that focus as well, we also focus particularly on two areas, and that is renewal and sustainability. And the reason for doing that is that we're preparing graduates not to do business today, but to do business in the future when they graduate, when they start building their careers. And of course, topics like sustainability, they're moving from nice to haves to requirements. Okay, governments are going to introduce new regulations. Corporations are going to have different expectations of their students. And what we try to do here is to prepare you for what the world is going to be like tomorrow. So that's another aspect I think that makes us unique, is that our emphasis is very much on the future of the business world. Finally, I just want to say one more thing, and that's its location. People often, there's a prejudice against smaller towns and cities. And, I come from Oxford. Oxford, I think, is proof that you can be small and still have a lot of impact in the world. And I believe Jönköping is similar in that regard. Despite its small location, it's set in a beautiful environment, next to one of the largest lakes in Europe. But on top of that, there's quite a lot of industry in this area, quite a lot of big companies, Husqvarna, ETAB, NAFAB. It's a very entrepreneurial place. And that means we have a lot of great connections with industry.
Mm-hmm. So, you are responsible for 3 different programs, right?
That is correct, yes. So I'll take you through each of those programs.
Yeah.
So I'll start off then with the Strategic Entrepreneurship Program. So JIBS is one of the first business schools in Sweden to create a program around entrepreneurship, back when the concept of entrepreneurship was still quite new in academia. And so we were quite an innovator in that sense. And the way we interpret entrepreneurship is a little bit different than some other business schools. We see entrepreneurship not simply as let's start a new business, okay? Mm-hmm. But we see entrepreneurship as a mindset, as a practice, okay? So what we try to teach you here are basically skills, mindsets, and tools that enable you to be entrepreneurial. And that may include starting a new business. But many of our strategic entrepreneurship students actually go off into existing industry, mm-hmm. And they take these skills and they're part of this preparing for the future. They're part of the strategic renewal, because being entrepreneurial is a skill that even the largest organization requires essentially to survive this transition. So. Mm-hmm. So that's strategic entrepreneurship. And then we have global management. Now, global management, I like to think of this as a pun, the name, because there's the obvious interpretation of what it means. So yes, it's global in that the focus is very much on doing business internationally. And we have courses designed exactly for that. So we have courses looking at global strategy. We're introducing a new course about working with a multinational. And in particular, placing emphasis on working for subsidiaries. A lot of emphasis has been what head office does, and a lot of neglect on, what do the subsidiaries do? And that's something that we're bringing attention to. So there's the international aspect. Okay?
Interesting.
But there's also, and this is the pun, I like to think of global management as being essentially a well-rounded conceptualization of what management is. So you're not just learning how to manage. We also have courses that teach you how to lead. We also have courses that teach you how to strategize, how to analyze, how to deal with operational problems. Okay, mm-hmm. So it's not just management, but you're also getting leadership, analysis, strategy, etc. Finally, then I'll just move on to the International Logistics and Supply Chain Management Program. And this is a program that we're really proud of, because it has a very good balance between theory and practice. And, we've had students who have moved from, we could say, more well-renowned universities, and they've chosen to come to Jönköping precisely because they said it was too theoretical where they were. And what they liked about being here was that it was what they said was a very good, actually balance is the wrong word. I'd say synergy is a better word, because it's not like if you introduce more practice, the theory goes down, but actually the two go hand in hand. So you get a good theoretical foundation in this program, but also we have very strong connections with logistics firms in the region, and we do visits, we have guest lectures, we work with real projects. So those are the 3 programs that I'm responsible for.
And how closely are these programs designed with the industry? What is the balance of research and application? I know that you mentioned this, but do we have like some kind of a balance going on in these? So how do we prepare our students for the real world and also for the academic research?
I could give an entire webinar just on that question, so I'll try to summarize. It's how we interact with industry, and actually industry is the wrong word. I should use the word how we interact with stakeholders, because it's more than just other companies. Varies between programs. So for example, I mentioned what we do in the International Logistics and Supply Chain Management course, in that we have company visits, guest lectures, real projects from industry. Now, with the Strategic Entrepreneurship Program, we have very strong links with the local business incubator, which luckily is right next door to the university campus. So And what we do as well is we encourage students. Well, not only do we invite the Science Park to come in and give lectures and help students with their projects, but also we encourage students who are entrepreneurial, who do want to start their own businesses as well. They can go work for the Science Park alongside their studies as well. So that's an option students have while they're studying here at JIBS. And that's not just for the entrepreneurship students. You could be studying global management and you want to work on an entrepreneurial project. And again, Science Park is available to you as well. And in the global management program, we have a lot of guest lectures. We invite companies in, they give real projects. These companies give prize money to the best projects. So it's fun, it's real. And that's through all three of these programs. There was something another part of your question, which was preparing you for real world experience.
Yeah.
So all three of these programs also have an optional internship course that you can take as well. And we send hundreds of students away to do internships. You get academic credits for these internships. And again, it's another way to prepare yourself for industry. So not only do you get industry exposure in the classroom, you get company visits outside the classroom, and again, you can also do an internship. Many of our interns actually find permanent positions once their internship is finished as well. So
this is a very interesting point because, with my work at Jönköping University with International Office, I meet with a lot of international students who are interested to study abroad. And then this is one of the very common questions which I usually get that, hey, is there any possibility and opportunity for me to also gain experience while I'm educating myself at the university? So people these days are expecting universities to provide those kind of platforms so they can also enable that education in practice mode and apply knowledge in real world. So that's wonderful. I know that JIBS is renowned around the world with this research excellence, and it targets 3 cross-disciplinary research areas: entrepreneurship, ownership, and renewal. This approach has facilitated building a dynamic research and outstanding accomplishments in terms of research output. Could you tell our audience a bit about our research centers and their research excellence, and how does that strength integrate with our programs?
Okay, yes. So JIBS, we have 3 sort of research centers, and 2 of them are very much involved in the 3 programs we're discussing right now. So one of our research centers is called CFIO, which is the center, and that basically looks at family entrepreneurship and family ownership. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions about family businesses, about them being small mom and pop stores, etc. Not many people realize actually that family businesses are the majority of world businesses, including some of the largest businesses on earth. Okay, if you drive a car, chances are it was built by a family business. Okay, so yes, many large organizations you may not realize are family owned. Yet much of the research on top management teams has assumed public ownership. So we have a research center that actually looks at, I guess, the reality of the majority of businesses that our students are going to work at, and looks at the dynamics of how they work. And we have 2 courses, one in the Strategic Entrepreneurship program and one in the Global Management program, that look at the dynamics of family business, okay, which, I've never seen another business school do. I'm not saying they don't, I just haven't seen it. So again, we have strong connections there. We have expertise in this particular area, which is an area which I think is overlooked by a lot of business schools. The second center, which has a lot of involvement, is the Media Management and Transformation Center. And this essentially is looking at, I mentioned before, the future orientation of the school, and that's what this research center looks at. It's looking at the transformations of industry. And that's in many different, we can interpret that in many ways. The digital transformation that's going on. So in our course, we talk about the impacts of certain technologies and where those technological trajectories are heading. So we have experts here in artificial intelligence, for example. but also, the sustainability transformation that's happening as well. And again, we have a lot of researchers and lecturers here who their main focus is on sustainable issues. And all of our programs, have a very strong sustainability focus. And that again, that's not just environmental, but also social, and of course, financial. Businesses need to be financially sustainable. And in order to be financially sustainable in the future, they're going to have to be environmentally and socially sustainable, because governments are going to demand that. So,
yeah, very true, very true. And one of the other very common questions which I get from a lot of potential students is there any internships? And I know that you have spoken about it, but are there real projects or simulations that they will get an opportunity to work on? Like simulations on or real projects, because internship could be something very dedicated working with one company, but then they might have some projects which might be going on while they're studying various courses. Do we have that kind of a setup?
So yeah, I mean, again, we have quite a diversity of these. So I've talked a lot about internships already. In terms of real projects, so some of our courses, the entire course is designed around a real project. So for example, we have a course called Applied International Management, where we invite a real company in. This real company offers prize money to students who come up with the best pitches for solving their problems. So again, we have real projects there. Again, in terms of realness, again, we have the Science Park, where you can actually work on your real business idea as well. That's an option. We also have extracurricular events as well. So we have the JIBS Innovation Challenge. We have the Sustainability Days here at the school as well, where essentially we have these challenges, these prizes and competitions for students to solve real world business problems. So that's another option. And simulations, yes. So it's been quite a tumultuous past 2 years with the pandemic, but one of the positives that's come out of that is there's been a lot of investment in the IT infrastructure here at the school, and a lot of focus on new and innovative ways of teaching. And simulations have been one of the things that's been introduced more and more into the school as well. So working with these simulations, so where it's not practical to, we can't make you an actual CEO, but we can simulate it. And that's one of the initiatives we're bringing into the school. And on that note as well, we also have regular pedagogy workshops as well. So the teachers never stop learning. The teachers are constantly being exposed to new ways of teaching, best practices of teaching. We've had a workshop recently on simulations, another workshop on how to do distance education effectively. All of these things. So our teachers are constantly being upskilled on what is the most sort of current and innovative teaching methods. So.
Wonderful. And this was actually one of the questions which I was going to ask. And thank you very much for answering that. So I know that we have a great community of alumni who have achieved high goals and set great examples for JU. Could you give some exciting examples of our alumni, and how can this network help our future potential students? And also kindly specify what careers our students can go for after completing their education. You can give just a few examples, perhaps.
Okay. It's really hard to pin down. People often ask, what can I do after I graduate? And it's really difficult to say, because there's such a diversity in what students have done. We've had quite a few students go off and start their own organizations. And what's interesting about that is they're not just from the Strategic Entrepreneurship program. Our entrepreneurial support network here seems to be sufficient, that people from the logistics and the global management program also have that foundation to start their own businesses. We have students going off and working in big businesses internationally, but also locally in the Jönköping area. Now, I mentioned Jönköping's a little place with a lot of clout, and I mentioned Husqvarna is just down the road. So one of the giant sort of engineering manufacturing company. NAFAB is also very close by, and that works on sustainable logistics solutions, for example. So a lot of students, they come here to study at Jönköping thinking they go elsewhere, and actually they realize opportunities are here. And with a JIBS degree, they're very employable to these large organizations as well. And I think that's particularly true now. We're both on the Financial Times list. And also, since we have this reputation of preparing students for future challenges. And for example, I mentioned sustainability a lot. It's becoming more and more attractive to demonstrate that you understand sustainable issues, but also sustainable solutions. And if you take the logistics program, you're going to have courses there on supply chain sustainability, for example, which are going to look very attractive to employers.
Wonderful. So thank you very much, Ryan. This was a really great session, and thank you for answering all those difficult questions, but you answered them in a very nice way. And thank you everyone for attending this webinar. We can now take questions from you, and kindly ask your questions at Q&A session on the Zoom. So please write your questions there, because it's hard to see questions on chat section. It's much easier for me to look at the questions at Q&A section. So please do that. So far, I think we have few attendees. No questions yet. So we got the first question. It is more a technical question. If I'm accepted, how long do I have to provide proof of graduation? Well, I can answer this. Well, it depends. I mean, we can offer you a conditional offer when you come and study a Master's of Education at Jönköping University. The only thing is you need to apply with your second to last semester's transcripts, so that the admissions department is able to see what you have studied, and if you already fulfill the criteria for the requirements required to study that education. So yes, it's possible.
One thing I'd like to point out as well, I was just talking to Yasim before about this as well, is you can apply directly to Jönköping University rather than through the national system, which means our deadline is a lot later than if you apply nationally, which gives you more opportunities essentially to get your documents ready if you'd like to apply.
Wonderful. And just another comment on this point, we have a webinar coming up with admissions department next week. So please stay tuned in, and we'll discuss about all the methodology we have to make an application. So, and we'll teach you step-by-step guide how to do that. So I think we might be done here, because I don't see any new questions coming in, but I can refresh and see. Yeah, so I think, no, what is the average of students per class?
That's a good question. It varies quite a bit depending on which class we're talking about. Generally, we have much smaller class sizes in the Strategic Entrepreneurship program. And that's and I think that's quite appropriate, because there's more opportunities then for, like, individual or small group coaching, which takes place in that particular program. You've got class sizes of around between 30 and 40 students there. I think the International Logistics and Supply Chain Management course, that's a much bigger program. But even then, class sizes are usually around, I'd say, the 80 80 people is usually max for that. So it's not the giant classes that you normally expect with bachelor programs with like 150 people in the lecture hall. And oftentimes with those bigger classes as well, the class will actually be broken up in order to have much more sort of an intimate kind of like, learning environment as well. And there's more of this move now to this sort of flipped classroom pedagogy as well, where lectures are recorded, and we have smaller sort of seminar sessions with smaller groups of the class for better interaction between student and lecturer.
Thank you. So let's see if we have any more coming in. So we have a comment. Clemens is saying, thank you very much. It was complete and inspiring. Thank you very much for attending this webinar, everyone. And remember that we have recorded this webinar, so this will be up on our web in next couple of days. So please, if you want to share the feed with your friends or anyone, please do that. Or if you want to come and see information over again, please do that. And stay tuned in with our upcoming webinars, because we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up in next few months. So please stay connected, and goodbye. All the best.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.